Welcome to the T-Squared Dad's Brown Bag Podcast. Here's your hosts, Kyle Baker and Dieter Burrell.
Welcome back, guys. This is Dieter. I'm your host today. We don't have Kyle on today, but just wanted to kind of bring up something very interesting. I don't know if everybody was watching the Oscars. You guys saw what Will Smith did to Chris Rock, and just wanted to kind of say that was very disappointing. The whole event occurred in live national television. I think the world must have seen this slap across what you guys are seeing and reacting to. This goes without saying what happens to people under pressure and how everything just kind of collapses around them, and make decisions that they make and they thought that they were going to make some good decisions from this point forward or just disappear in one moment. Should we forgive Will Smith for what he did? He's an outperformer. He is a very intelligent individual. Was stress the cause of this reaction, or was it other factors? What do you guys think? I'm going to compare this event to many things that happen in the business world. When stress gets to people, people can make poor choices. Now, do we find a way to help these folks that are creating these conflicts in the business environment, or should we be dismissing them? I mean, I think that's a proverbial question that everybody has. I mean, I'm not saying that, did Chris Rock deserve to get slapped in the face? Was this the appropriate behavior in the environment that you were in? Or is there a time and a place to act this way? Now, in the business world, we have people that perform, high performers, low trust. Or do you want a trustworthy person that doesn't perform very well? I mean, we tend to forgive a lot of high performers for the acts that they do where they cause, I'm going to say, chaos in the office. You know, you have morale. I mean, I think we may have had a podcast in the past where we talked about how special forces work best. Who do they work best on? How their leadership is kind of tiered. Because one of the biggest things that, if you guys remember, we talked about was you got people that are high performers and low trust, and then you got low performers, high trust. Now, in a crisis situation, you want to have high performance, high trust, but that's usually not the case. We tend to kind of want to balance that out with, I guess, medium performers, high trust. It's a more balanced environment when you have people that way. Business situation. Now, do we go around forgiving every person that acts the way they do, and they kind of shame other people because they think that that's the most appropriate way when somebody's not doing their job as they intended? You know, we have these same, I'm going to call it a type of leaders that, you know, they're always kind of ridiculing or bashing people on the head because they're not performing. Now, instead of creating an environment where you can trust your leaders to allow you to make mistakes, is probably the most important part. I'm not saying that, you know, we should forgive everyone that's a low performer, but we should try to teach them how to improve on their skills. There are some people that are unteachable. I mean, I get that. They're, you know, and you try to locate them. I think the best example was when you have a low performer, you try to match them with the high performers, and that low performer, when he starts seeing what a high performer does, he starts, either one or two things happen. He starts mimicking the same behavior to try to improve on it, or he tries to find ways as to why the high performer is so good at what he does, you know, so that he ends up trying to copy that behavior, and he may learn something from it. So all of a sudden, you know, after some amount of time working with a high performer, that person becomes a medium performer. Then you have achieved success because now you have somebody that's very trustworthy, and it's a medium performer, and he can achieve a lot more tasks and can produce a lot more in a company. Now, when we have people that are high performers and behave in a poor manner, I think it's very difficult for anyone to try to, bash him on the head, because again, you pay the price for a high performer when he misbehaves, but do you turn the other cheek and say, oh, okay, well, it's okay, he's a high performer, we should forgive him because he's so successful, he's made our company successful, but we have the situation where you have a lot of people that quit, they don't want to work with that person. In an environment where it's tailored for business, you want to have people that can learn how to collaborate, work together. You want leaders to be able to lift other people to perform better. And when you have poor behavior, it just brings everything down, and companies tend to lose a lot of money when you have high performance, creating a bad situation. And like they say, it's like one bad apple ruins the rest. So today we don't have a joke for you guys, but I figured this one was going to be a quickie podcast for everybody to talk about amongst themselves. But I hope that this shines a little bit of light. I don't want to go into any other angle when it comes to this event, but it is what it is. And should we forgive the high performance for acting poorly? That's a question that you need to ask yourself as a boss, and make sure that your business thrives with successful team players. Hopefully you guys stay tuned for the next podcast. It should be shortly. Me and Kyle will come back to something similar, but hopefully we can all learn by watching others make silly mistakes. Stay tuned.
Thanks for listening to the T-Squared Dad's Brown Bag Podcast. Please subscribe on your favorite platform, and we will talk to you next time.